financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is eliminating debt, taxes included, with Chapter 7. And with us today is our Chapter 7 guru of the world, Mr. Brian Small. Good morning.
Guru of the world. I think there should be a banner over my head or something that says Guru of the world. But good morning, Ken. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Also with us is our global guru on taxes, Jeffrey Linden.
Glorious to be here, but you had to go there. Now look at his head. It's shining brighter than ever.
Well, wait, here's the question.
You've lit a bulb.
Is global bigger or smaller than Guru of the world? Or is it
I think Ken meant universal. Galactic.
Universal?
I think it's more like a galactical thing for me.
A galactical. I like that.
So you think global is bigger?
No, I think it's exactly the same.
Okay. I think you guys are both at the top of the food chain when it comes to Chapter 7 and taxes. How's that?
Seems
Thank you,
reasonable
sir.
to me.
All right.
I
Chapter
don't have
7.
a fancy fake background like Jeff does, though, where my head goes in and out, though.
It's not a fake back.
That's my real background.
That's
In
your
my
office.
office.
Yeah.
But he looks like a Jedi with the.
I am a Jedi. I'm a tax Jedi.
All right. Moving on from, I don't want to say social media, but it would be moving on from technology issues of remote filming. Let's talk about the basics of Chapter 7 before we get into a case study that we're going to illustrate the taxes. How does Chapter 7 work, Brian, in short order? What's the benefits? What are the high points?
Chapter
What do you get to
7.
keep?
Debt elimination bankruptcy. Wipe out your debts, get a fresh start. Keep most, if not all, of the assets that you own. Eliminate all of the debt that you owe. Giving you a fresh start. It's all over the bankruptcy code. Fresh start, fresh start, fresh start. The concept is you get to do this once every 8 years. So if you qualify for a Chapter 7, you get to wipe out your debts and move forward with your life, not being burdened by your debts of the past.
Okay, and how does the process basically work? What's the time frame, start to finish? How do you do this?
So you come into the office, we do an analysis of your income and expenses, your assets and your liabilities. That combination tells us which chapter of bankruptcy you are going to qualify for. If you qualify for a Chapter 7, it is the least costly, most effective method to get you out of debt. From the day, so I'll give you the timeline. You come in to see me, we do the analysis. The next day, you walk into my office with the retainer and the documents that I've asked you for. A week later, we can get the case filed. We can do it sooner if we had to. I can do it as quickly as 3 hours after you first meet with me if it's an emergency situation. And we file the case. You have a hearing 4.5 weeks later. And then a couple months after that, the United States government issues your discharge. So
is that your hearing in person right now, or is that by Zoom?
So hearings for Chapter 7s are done either by Zoom or on the telephone. Most of them are actually being done by phone. Trustees are transitioning to Zoom, but we make it easy. If you're not tech savvy and you don't know how to use Zoom, it's not a problem. You come to the office and you do the hearing here with us, and we do it on Zoom for you. If you don't know how to use your phone, come on to the office. We'll put you on speaker and we'll get it taken care of. The bottom line is that the technology aspect of Chapter 7 right now shouldn't scare anyone. It makes it easy. on you because the whole
It sounds like
concept
it's
is
easier and
painful.
less. It sounds like it's easier and less intimidating. Actually, I'd rather be sitting at your desk for the process than in court.
Oh, absolutely less intimidating, because the reality is that you don't have that face-to-face interaction where a trustee can sit there and frown at you and wait for you to stick your foot down your throat. The reality is
That doesn't happen too often anyway, right?
it does when you watch other people's hearings and not ours.
Because we prepare our clients.
Yes, you do. We do prepare them thoroughly to make sure that they're comfortable with the process and understand what they're facing.
So I don't want to shift topics, but is Chapter 13 handled differently in terms of the hearing?
Chapter 13 now is generally done by Zoom. It's not done by phone, but it can be done by phone for those who are technologically impaired.
I know you're very active and involved in the consumer practice in the Metro Detroit area with the trustees and everything else. Is their intention to continue that even post-COVID, or is that not decided at this point?
So at the moment, we're at least another 6 to 8 months out where we're going to make a decision about what court's going to look like and what hearings are going to look like. But all of the trustees are generally very happy doing their hearings either via Zoom or telephone. And I don't ever see it going back to in person, other than maybe for a specialized hearing or an adjourned hearing.
I like that. Okay, now let's talk about taxes. Okay, and we're coming up to a break soon, so we'll carry this over into the next segment. But are taxes dischargeable in a Chapter 7, Jeff?
Yeah, it depends. Some are. They have to be more than 3 years from the due date. You have to have filed your returns for at least 2 years, and you have to be at least 8 months from the last time you were assessed. And also, you can't have an SFR, which is a substitute for return. So what happens quickly is that if you don't file your returns, but you're a wage employee where the IRS gets W-2s or 1099s, they know what you earn. So they'll file a return for you based on that, but you'll get none of your normal deductions. Typically, you're going to get a tax bill much higher than if you filed your return. So you can't file bankruptcy on those years.
So wait, just so income taxes are dischargeable.
Yeah. Payroll taxes are not
dischargeable. And
we'll get to that in a minute.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I want you to lay out and define for us what are income taxes versus other taxes. We'll be back after the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, It's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So let's get some clarity on this. Income taxes are dischargeable. That's your 1040 income tax.
Yeah, that's taxes based on your earnings, from whatever source they are. Payroll taxes are if you're an employer, it's the withholding that you have to pay to the government that you're taking out of your employees' paychecks. That, if you owe that and don't pay that, that's never dischargeable because the government looks at you as basically holding that in trust for your employees in the government, and they take a dim view of not paying that over to them.
So you can't use Chapter 7 to discharge that then, Brian?
No, you cannot use Chapter 7 to discharge payroll taxes. And for the substitute for return that Jeff spoke about, the interesting thing is it never becomes dischargeable even if you file a subsequent tax return. So it can lower your liability because the IRS will look at the actual tax return you filed, but it isn't treated as a tax return for bankruptcy purposes. So the advice that you get out of that is always file your tax returns on time. Even if you don't have the money to pay them, always file them on time because eventually that tax could be wiped out in a bankruptcy, whether it be a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13 or even a personal Chapter 11.
Yeah, so I want to repeat the takeaway there. You need to file your returns because if you don't, you're giving away the potential of discharging those taxes in bankruptcy beyond all the other reasons why you need to file the return to avoid the non-filing 25% penalty, to avoid the fact that it's a criminal act for failing to file your returns. But this bankruptcy one is extremely important because it comes into play when people are in financial distress. Typically, there's also a tax liability and you want to discharge it. Now let's do our case study.
An interesting
I want
point.
to go to our case study.
Just 1 second.
It's got to be quick.
As it happens with regard to discharging taxes with all that type of stuff, it varies by circuit. And we happen to be in a good circuit the 6th Circuit that allows for the discharge of even late filed tax returns, which
as long as there's no SFR.
Right, which doesn't happen in a lot of other circuits.
Got it. All right, so here's our case study. Our clients are Edward and Vivian. They're in their late 40s. Now, I picked these names for a reason, Brian. Do you know who they are?
Yeah, actually, I do. My least favorite movie in the entire world, because I do not like Julia Roberts as an actress. Sorry.
That's why I picked them, because I happen to like them, and I happen to like that movie as well. Edward, but that's the only similarity is the names. Edward is a real estate account executive, and he's a superstar salesperson. He's self-employed. He earns between $100 and $250 a year from selling homes. He lives like a king. He drives fast cars, lots of cars. He's a high roller. He likes to go to Vegas and the local casinos. He's supposed to pay his taxes in quarterly. It never happens. Vivian, she's a superstar interior designer. She's self-employed. When she's working, she's making between $75,000 and $125,000 a year. She's supposed to pay her taxes in quarterly, and that never happens. And she likes to go with Edward to the casino as well and partake in the events. Here's their assets. So these are high income earners, but big spenders. Home, modest, $350,000 home with a $300,000 mortgage. So there's $50,000 of equity. They've got household furnishings. Cash in the bank right now is 135 grand. They've got 150,000 in credit card debt. Now here's the big one for the two of you. They have $600,000 in outstanding and unpaid income taxes. 125 from 2016, 125 from 17, 115 from 18, 100 from 19, 50 from 20, 50 from 21. They got another 15,000 in medical bills. Their monthly income net of taxes is right around 20,000 a month. Their mortgage payments $2,800. Credit cards are killing them at $3,750 a month. Utilities, cell, that's another expense. Edwards car lease is $700. Vivian's is $600. Gas, auto, and insurance $1,000. Food and entertainment $2,500 a month. $10,000 I've put down as their gambling expense because they like to play and they lose. Their total expenses are running them $2,250 a month. They're negative $2,250 per month every month. Do they qualify for a bankruptcy in this scenario, Brian?
Believe it or not, as ridiculous of a budget as you just created with $10,000 in gambling expenses and $3,750 in credit card debt per month, they actually could and do qualify for a Chapter 7, but not for the reasons that most people are thinking.
What about you? You've talked on the show before, and you've always been telling me about the means test, the meanie test.
Okay, so if this was a normal situation where they had $800,000,
$250,000 of income a year.
Yeah, normally they wouldn't qualify. They'd either be required to file a Chapter 13 or a personal Chapter 11, or they'd have to do something outside of bankruptcy. In this case, the only reason they qualify for a Chapter 7 is because the majority of their debts are non-consumer debts.
That's $600,000 in taxes.
The majority of their debt is related to their tax debt. That's correct. It's close because they have a $300,000 mortgage, and they have leased cars, and they have $150,000 in credit card debt. But still, the majority of their debt is non-consumer debt due to income tax debt. When we come back from the break, I'll explain why it's dischargeable and why they qualify for a Chapter 7.
We'll take a break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation via teleconference, in office. You know, we're COVID smart, but we can do it in the office, or we can do it through Zoom or on the telephone, whatever makes you most comfortable. Just call 888-235-HELP or go online and sign up. We cover debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeff. Again, just sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go online for our free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Ken Gross and Jeff Linden, Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, and Kirshner Law. Now, back to the show.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Will I outlive my money?
Medicaid is so confusing.
A will, or do I need a trust?
What if mom needs to go in a nursing home?
At Simasko Law, we have the answers to all of these questions. Our attorneys will eliminate the confusion and develop a plan that's right for you. We are dedicated to veterans benefits, assisted living, and nursing home care. Simasko Law can help prepare you for a long future. Call Simasko Law today. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So, Brian, I get it. So because their non-consumer debt exceeds their consumer debt, they don't have to pass the means test. Edward and Vivian can file a Chapter 7. But let's talk about the taxes now. You got $600,000 of taxes. Which ones are dischargeable, Jeff?
Well, 16, 17, and 18. 16 and 17 are dischargeable now. By April, 18 will also become dischargeable, assuming that they filed in April and they didn't file an extension.
Okay, so what do I do about? Well, we'll wait to April. No problem there. What do I do about 19, 20, and 21, you guys?
We're going to have to put them in an installment plan, which will run parallel to the bankruptcy, but it won't start until after the bankruptcy. Or Brian can work something out, possibly with a Chapter 13.
No. We take the cash because they can't protect the cash. I can protect the equity.
Yeah, you got $135,000 of cash.
They got to write a check. They pay the taxes. They're going to have to suck it up. They're going to pay 2019 taxes and 2020 taxes, or they're going to pay 2020 and 2021 and leave a balance owing for 2019, which after the bankruptcy, they will then do an installment agreement.
So here it is. Let me lay it out. They're going to take $125,000. They're going to pay off towards 20. They're going to pay off 21, 20, and part of 19. It's going to leave them $75,000 left. Jeff, that you'll put into an installment plan after the bankruptcy, paying it out at $1,250 a month over 72 months, rough dollars. All right. So here's where they come out. their budget before and after bankruptcy. I gave you their before budget. Their after bankruptcy budget, they get rid of all the credit card debt. They get rid of all the tax debt, except they're going to have to pay that $1,250 monthly installment payment. So they're going to go from negative $2,250 to positive $4,950. Except I threw in a little number. If you look in the chart, I reduced their gambling expense from $10,000 a month to $5,000 a month because these people have Edward and Vivian don't just have a debt problem; they have a gambling problem. They need to somehow at least trim their losses from $10,000 a month, throwing the money away, to $5,000 a month.
But Ken, with the budget, even with the way you've got it set up, the reality is that because their non-consumer debt exceeded their consumer debt, they still qualify for that Chapter 7. If their consumer debt exceeded their non-consumer debt, so it was $600,000 worth of non-consumer debt and $450 of tax debt, they would never have qualified for the bankruptcy.
Yeah. So the point is, if they don't trim their gambling expense, they're going to be back in the same problem again, and they're not going to pay their taxes going forward. If they trim their gambling expense, then they can pay their taxes, and that way they can start. They're making the kind of money that they should be able to save, pay off their home, and have a mega retirement to live off of. If they can put the taxes behind them, get rid of that problem, don't repeat the problem, and as long as they can solve the gambling problem, they can go on and have great lives.
Yeah, but I want to point something out. For the average couple that walks through the door that doesn't have $10,000 in gambling expenses per month, but really is living from paycheck to paycheck and got themselves into a tax problem, your income tax debt is still dischargeable with the same set of rules. It has to be at least 3 years old. They have to have been filed for at least 2 years, and you couldn't have been assessed in the last 8 months. If you meet those parameters, whether you have to take the means test or not in a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you will still be able to discharge your obligations. So the key is file your taxes on time, pay them if you can. If you can't, come see us and let us do the analysis so we can plan it. Just like Jeff pointed out, the 2018 taxes aren't dischargeable yet, and you're watching this show in February of 2022. They have to wait until April or possibly October if an extension was filed. So there's a lot of strategy and a lot of analysis, and if you stick your head in the sand, you're stuck.
Great points. And I really like to point that it's not just about high rollers. Everybody can take advantage of this. You have to do it the right way. You have to analyze it. You have to be smart. You have to be careful. Have a great week. Brian, thanks. Jeff, thanks. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.